Ready? Okay, so thank you everyone for an interesting debate. We came to a unanimous decision in which the first goes to opening government, the second to closing opposition, the third to opening opposition, and the fourth, sadly, to closing government. Let's talk about why. And I think I want to start with opening half. So opening government gives us two main points in this debate. The first thing that they give us is telling us that this harms the people that are working in the porn industry. They give us a few different reasons for why STDs is something that is really, really bad for you, and this is something that you should care about because it really harms your life afterwards, your ability to have partners, tons of stuff that is really important. And they also tells us why when we're generally talking about workers, we need to, like the state needs to intervene in order to help them. Why? Because A, they're not necessarily informed enough, they don't necessarily know the risk, and generally not really know how to take care of themselves. I would say this is less reasonable when you're talking about like porn industry people who probably know the risk of STD. Like it's generally like researched thing that, and people generally know it, and there were not a lot of analysis on why they wouldn't. Just maybe they don't. Okay, maybe they don't. Fine. The second thing I think is the stronger claim, which is workers are generally in a worse position to take care of themselves because the employees sometimes force them to do stuff that they don't want to do, some stuff that are risky for them, etc., etc., etc. And in a lot of cases, the government intervened in this place. They give the example of work hours. Maybe you want to work for longer hours, but this is really bad for you, and you cannot really
bargain.
Negotiate. Better condition for yourself, therefore the government should intervene. Then came opening opposition and said a few things. A, they told us, wait, but like this is very similar to tons of other jobs that are dangerous, and this is just something that people can decide for themselves. I think they do sufficiently good enough job to claim that at least people are aware of the dangers, that they're not informed. So like one of your problems does not stand, but I think the second thing that is the problem and the main reason to take below opening government is that you don't deal with they're not free to make this choice claim that they make. So you repeatedly talk about other jobs like athletes or race drivers or that sort of thing. As an example of other people who know the risk and they can take it for themselves, but then opening government repeatedly tell you, yes, but athletes are people that are better off in society, they have more money, they have more opportunities, they are better at what they do, so this is not really similar, and in this specific place, when the workers are weaker, we need to protect them. So I think in the legitimacy, they win. I think the other thing that you tell us, is the idea that you bring two other things that are more generally like how we view porn and why this might not be the way to solve the problems or even might make the problems worse. I think on this place, I think you also lose to the idea is coming from opening government. So the first thing that you give us is the idea that like condoms are not the main problem coming out of porn. Right, other problems are really, really important as well. Why are they mutually exclusive? Why can't I first deal with the condom thing, or not even first? While I deal with the condom thing, also deal with abusiveness or all of the other stuff. I have no idea why putting condoms in porn does any impact on the other issues that you're talking about. So while I do understand that there are other stuff that we could do, I don't know why the debate should not just, okay, we do this and also all of the other things that you want to do. So that's the first thing. The second thing that you bring is the idea that it brings, it spreads more Puritan ways of thinking about sex, which I have to admit I just find a little bit confusing because like when condoms are not something very puritanic. That's like not how people think about sex like in the real world, and just I'm a little bit confused. And also your analysis there is there are tons of ways of having sex. There are also LGBT porn. There are also that sort of thing. And I'm like, yes, and we can have condoms there as well. Why couldn't we? So while I do buy the fact that it might be a little bit less messy. That's like the one thing that I get. But I'm not sure that it's enough to make the porn industry like prudent. Like I just find it weird. And I think when opening government tells us at least we teach children to wear condoms, probably a good thing compared to there might be some harms that I'm not really sure that are going to happen. So this is what happens in top half. Let's bring in closing government. I think closing government does interesting things in this debate. I think the two main additions that have not already come from your opening team is the idea that there is an educational like possibility with porn that we're not using today. That this can be something amazing that teaches everyone to act better. I think comparing you to opening opposition, when opening opposition tells us, wait, but there are like a million things that are wrong with the sex industry, like with the porn industry. Maybe the one teeny thing of having condoms there could teach them good stuff, but also like it also teaches them tons of really bad stuff. So I'm not really sure how exactly this thing works, and also I'm not really sure what this point does in this debate, because the debate is forcing them to the porn industry to do something. The idea of this might be nice if they did it is not necessarily answering the question of forcing them. Like, do you understand where I'm going? Opening opposition tells us, like, on the legitimacy thing, the government should not intervene in this way. The government should let everyone choose for themselves how they want to work, that sort of thing. And while even if I would buy your point of porn can be an educational tool that is really, really good, even if I buy to the fullest extent, I'm still not sure why the government should force them to do this, and not just hope that the porn industry will become nice somehow. So that's the first thing that you add. The second thing that you added is, and I think it's really interesting, is the idea of how do you think about contraceptions, and who do you think is the person that's supposed to be in charge of it, and the effects on the female body because of like using the alternative contraception, and all of this. I completely agree that it's interesting. I think when opening opposition tells us, wait, but like race drivers can choose for themselves, why can't this people choose for themselves? Like if you're talking about, I don't know, the pill and what it does to my body, like why can't the porn actresses know the risks, understand them, and choose for themselves to do the other thing? And I think I don't get any new material on that specific question from you guys. I think all of your responses to that idea are responses that have already come from your opening team. So I'm lacking in new positive material that I can put you over opening opposition. Do you understand? And I would just like to say, I think both of these points can be really interesting and really strong in this debate. I think they're just lacking a few bits in the end to actually make this stand. Good. So closing opposition, I think closing opposition tries to do something interesting in this debate. They're trying to move away the question of whether or not this is a good thing in general, whether or not we have legitimacy to do that or that sort of thing, to more of the practicalities. Like if we do the thing, people are going to move to a black market, and the black market is just going to be way, way worse because of tons of reasons. And I think the smart thing to do is tell me, like, the reason that it's going to be worse are in the direct clash with open government. So it's going to be worse because it's worse educationally. People are going to think that condoms are something that is only in fantasies and not in real life, therefore they are going to use it less. And the second thing that you tell me is that it's going to be worse for the people working there because it's less regulated and they're going to feel worse. I think then the main question is, do I buy this? Are people actually going to move from this place to the alternative places? I think here I have really interesting engagement from you and opening government, because opening government, you give this as a PY, and then opening government does a full case of why they think this is not going to happen. Mainly the analysis there is people get used to the things that they watch. If like most of the porn on the internet is going to have condoms, people are just going to watch this because this is easier. And the second thing is that it's just better quality, and people want to see better quality movies or porn. I'm not sure I would call them movies, but fine. People want to see better quality porn, therefore they're probably going to see this. Then you come and tell me, wait, but people are also used to this new idea. So I think the question then becomes, who are the people that we're talking about? Who are the people that we care about the most? I think opening government clearly frames this debate as like new people coming to watch porn, like teenagers or preteen people, and I think they're not used to anything. They're not going to look for stuff. Like you gave examples, I don't remember, but they're not going to actively type this thing because they don't know it, like I don't know them. So they're just going to look for porn, and that's it. And they were probably going to find. And then the question becomes like, what are they going to find? Are they going to find the bigger websites, or are they going to find the smaller independent stuff? And I'm really not sure, but I think it's more of a burden on you to prove that they're going to move, like the new people that they're talking about. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, I think your analysis is based on the fact that people are going to search this specific thing. People are going to want this specific thing and search for it. But I'm not sure that it's going to become more prevalent. It's just that they now have a niche that is specific to them, and they might get slightly bigger than they are today, but on the larger educational thing, I'm not sure that you're fully analyzing that. Do you understand? We'll talk about it later. So I think that's one thing. For a second, to the other clash, I think you deal better and better than your opening team on the idea of harming the workers, because I think you do two things. A, you tell me, wait, they have all of the incentives to do this today. The problem that you're talking about just doesn't exist. And you give me the example of shutting down the entire US porn industry for like a month or 2 months, I don't remember, in order to stop this STD from spreading. And I think generally I find it very confusing, like very not confusing, very, well,
not common-sensy.
Convincing, that's what I want to say. So I find it really convincing when they say that. So I think they win one clash, but not necessarily the other one. And I think when you do prioritize the idea of like the children are the most important thing, like more people having STD is probably a bad thing. So overall, I think opening government win. Comparing the opposition bench, I think they deal better with the idea that like the porn industry is actually dealing with this idea good, like in and of itself, and B, I think they're in better engagement with what opening government are trying to achieve, and they come really close to defeating that. And I think while I don't buy it to the full extent, I do buy their impacts on there are going to exist worse porn that does not exist today and will exist tomorrow and does harms, and I think on the more practical levels, I think you're lacking, and they have way more on that. So this is what I think happens in the opposition bench. Questions on that? Good. So can you please turn off the camera, because I don't think everyone wants to hear personal feedback.